Today was a weird kind of day. I mean, not weird as in, you know, bizarre, extraordinary. It was just, I wasn't sleeping very well. So I got up at about 4, 5, I think, and just couldn't sleep anymore. So I decided I'm going to go and listen to the audiobook. Realized there's a few things I'd like to perhaps change in the first few chapters. So that was good to seize the time for that. And then I didn't go back to bed, even though I was really tired. Then sometimes I do get tired at about maybe like 6, 7 in the morning when I should really get up and start the day. And it just, you know, it's just all bizarre when that happens. I don't have insomnia, really, but every once in a while I just don't sleep well. And God knows what the reasons for that are. Difficult to pinpoint, probably. But hey, anyway, I did manage to seize the day, at least a little bit. Posted another one of those bike videos that I sometimes forget. Sometimes footage accumulates on the GoPro, or I transfer it over to iMovie, and then I edit it and export it, and then I forget to upload it. And this is one such occasion where I thought, actually there's this file, what did I do with it? And I just uploaded it this morning, so that was nice to be productive that way. I also managed to finalize an article that I had written about 2 months ago. It's crazy how time just flies. That was back when I put a new hard disk into my MacBook Pro and tried to install Windows 10 on it and just have it as a Windows 10 machine. And those experiences and how to do it step by step, I had made notes of that, but I hadn't quite finalized that. So that's the other thing I did this morning at about, I don't know, 6 a.m. or 7 a.m. or something. And that was kind of nice to do that and get another thing off the plate that was just lingering and hanging around there. I like it when you just tick things off and go, it's another thing done, another thing off the list. It allows my brain to breathe and makes me feel just better about myself and about just getting something out of my head that would otherwise just remain there. So, bright. So then the other thing I did was I tried to make a video for Rod about OBS, about how I use OBS to switch between scenes that are zoomed in. And I started making that, and it's actually more difficult to make a video about OBS while you're using OBS, so that's not really possible. My intention was to use Camtasia to record the process and then just show how I do it in OBS step by step, but it also means that OBS interferes somewhat with the recording of Camtasia, and that wasn't so good. So sadly that was something I had to abort and start again at another day. But I had planned to just release that this morning, and it just didn't work that way. And when that happens, it always makes me feel slightly frustrated and a bit depressed, really, because you try something, you invest time into something, and the intention is you want to create something, and then you realize, hey, that time is gone, yet you've got nothing to show for it, but the product isn't there. And has it helped to make the next product better or the next creation better? Questionable. Sometimes it just doesn't work that way, and it's just never nice when that happens. I like the fulfilled feeling that I get when I create something and the outcome is somewhat pleasing and something I can be proud of. But I really dislike it when this happens and there's just nothing that you can show for it. And that's just, you know, it's just sad. Well, it's sad. I mean, it's just, you know, there could be better ways that you could be spending your time, you know, like being more productive and all. Well, one of those things. So that happened this morning. So then I found myself having about maybe 45 minutes worth of time before I had to go to work. And today is one of those days where I'm working for 7 hours. Usually I try to keep it to about 6 and not longer than that. And so today is a slightly longer day. It's not that dramatic, but you know, it's just how do I organize myself around that? How do I take breaks properly and all that? So yes, that is happening today. So then yes, I managed to puzzle around a little bit with a generic thumbnail for the trick shots videos. That's what I wanted to do for a while, because I've got a few lying around there that are edited and they're online, but I want to release them maybe once every week, Tuesday, Wednesday, something like that. Just pre-schedule them, and for them to look handsome, they need to have a thumbnail that can't be too difficult. So I'd like to have something like I used to have, these white thumbnails with a white background that had the logos of the applications that I was using and then just a title. And sometimes that's an easy way of getting some kind of thumbnail out there that looks better than what YouTube would pick, especially for screencasts, because they can just be so super boring, just like a gray background with too much detail. It's just not good. Thumbnails like that do not stand out, so anything is better than that. And one of those solutions is literally to create something like a generic thing with Photoshop that you can overtype. And I used to have that, but the downside of that is if you have that as a thumbnail and all your videos look like that, then even though they are cohesive, they're also super bland. And I want to avoid that. So I tried to grab the background from that title sequence and played around with a few ways of putting the words on there, and I think I've come up with something that I can kind of live with, so I can be proud of that this is something I've achieved this morning. That's nice. So I think I've got that thumbnail, and then I posted one on a video that was already online and live, and then I had to go. So yes, more positive news, very exciting stuff actually, that the previous live stream, the 3D live stream about DAZ Studio 4.12 has already, and it's just, we're talking Sunday morning now, went out on Friday 4 p.m. and we're now talking Sunday noon actually. It's just before noon on Sunday, so about 48 hours later, maybe more than that, slightly more than that. No, actually, yeah, less than 48 hours later. It's reached over 1,000 views. That is crazy. I don't think I've ever had that before. That's very, very humbling. Very blows my mind really when that happens. And it's just crazy how that can happen. I mean, 1,000 views is a lot. That's 1,000 people watching at least a few minutes of that. That's wow. And it's, in fact, it's so early that I don't even know how much money I've made from that. So it's that always takes a few days to get an accurate picture of what that means in monetary terms. I remember when the Subnautica video went kind of viral there and had over 600 views. That translated to about $5 in ad revenue. That's crazy good, really. That's just such a wonderful bonus from YouTube revenue. So by that same token, it could well be that this is, I don't know, $6-7 plus 99 cents from Biscuits, which is awesome. Thank you, Biscuits. Speaking of Biscuits, there was something that I thought was very inspiring. Biscuits made a video about really nothing in particular. It's a wrap truck behind me. This is exciting stuff. I hope this doesn't flag a copyright warning on YouTube. It would be hilarious if that happens. I've heard people walking past bars and not intending to record the music, but YouTube still picks it up and they get a copyright warning. It is absolutely mental what happens there. So hey, let's just hope the guy remixed the tracks by himself this morning while he was in the bathroom. So anyway, Biscuits made this video about nothing really in particular, which was doodling around in ZBrush. And I find ZBrush is a very intimidating program for me. And I've had it since 2015, 2014. And although I like it, I like what it can do, it is something that I've not really grown into yet. And so Biscuits was saying, hey, I feel the same way. Sometimes you just gotta doodle around and just play with it and explore stuff. And what I loved about that video was that she was talking about just the process, casual, start with a sphere, and then you use the standard brush for this, you use the damn standard brush to make crevices, you use the clay build-up tubes to build up some material, and you go and remesh this, and then you inset an eyeball here, and you set up symmetry there. And I was thinking, this isn't that difficult. This is actually very cool. So I thought, inspired by that, I tried my hand myself at ZBrush after such a long time, and especially also with thinking now that I have a Stream Deck, it may be well easier for me to have the brushes that you continuously use set up as shortkeys on the Stream Deck. That's a great idea. I've never tried that before. I still haven't tried that, but it inspired me to get going with that. Also get my old Intuos tablet out again, which is something I was inspired to do because Rod had so many issues with his Cintiq, which is luckily back on his desk now. But it's one of those things, I used to have the tablet nearby, never really did anything with it, so I put it away. And these two incidences inspired me to get it out again and just have another look at ZBrush. And it's surprising to me how much I actually remembered about ZBrush, how to zoom in and out, which isn't an intuitive process, and how to navigate, how to create objects, how to get started, how to select brushes. And I was thinking, my goodness, I know an awful lot about ZBrush that I hadn't realized. In my mind, I always think of myself as somebody who doesn't know anything about ZBrush. That's not actually that true. I do know some of the basics, which is great. It's just sometimes you need to do this kind of reality check and update your own perception of yourself, I guess. And you know, I did that, and it was all down to the Biscuit's video. So thank you so much, Biscuits. That was really, really nice. I felt inspired. I want to do this again, and now I feel frustrated that I have to go to work and go to the supermarket. But ZBrush will be there when I get home, and I shall play with it.